The Road to Emmaus, an Easter Cantata. Let us be filled with the light of divine wisdom in order to teach others. These are the words of St. Jean de Lesternac in 1638. This remarkable abbess founded the order of the Company of Mary Our Lady in Bordeaux a little over 400 years ago, with the extraordinary purpose of educating girls of any faith. The 17th century saw many educational orders develop, but what set this apart was women educating women, as stated in the Rules and Constitutions of the Company of Mary Our Lady, written by the foundress. Her inclusive and ecumenical spirituality, stemming from a Calvinist mother and a Catholic father and uncle, the philosopher Michel de Montaigne, informed progressive educational methods based on Christian humanist principles. Our school, Notre Girls' School in Cobham, is the only remaining English member of the worldwide Company of Mary Our Lady, which supports more than 300 educational projects worldwide. As educators, we are all encouraged to see the humanity of Christ in every girl. In line with the unique spiritual context of this setting, Notre Dame offers a musical education to prepare for worship and to educate in the values of our faith, largely through singing. Singing is accessible to all, and girls are enculturated from the beginning to hear their own singing voices. Classroom instructions in music lessons are sung, with sung responses adapted to age and ability, so that singing is as natural as speaking. Girls also join with others in communal singing and worship. Music is in this way experienced as both grounded and transcendent. The aim is a well-rounded musical education which educates the whole child. For 9 years now, I have run a project with each Year 5 to create a new cantata for Easter with the purpose of performing it as part of Easter worship. Each class in the year group has written a song collaboratively to contribute to the cantata, and they have performed all the songs together in 2 or 3 contrasting movements. The songs have told the Easter story, with a different stage of the story encapsulated in each song. In 2015, a cantata of 2 songs was written for the story of the road to Emmaus. The story was told as a journey, one song being the journey to Emmaus in despair and darkness of mind, and the other being the revelation of the risen Christ in the breaking of bread, and the hurried journey back to Jerusalem to tell the good news. Prior to composing, the children had intensive tuition on word setting and song structure, learning how to write lyrics to fit a metre. After completing and performing the work in our Easter assembly and recording it, the girls were invited via a questionnaire and in focus groups to give feedback. As I speak about the girls, I'm cognizant that their views are drawn from a large pool of individual feedback, not filtered in any way to account for bias, and I'm using on the whole my own words to describe the girls' responses. St. Jean was quoted in 1671 as having said, "There is nothing I recommend to you with greater affection than friendship among yourselves and mutual agreement." The Easter cantata is written every year in this spirit of friendship, being an entirely collaborative and communal enterprise. Once lyrics are written in small groups, the girls sit round in circles together and take it in turns to improvise tunes with their voices. They are then encouraged to sing back to each other and repeat what has been sung in order to consolidate it and learn it. In this particular year group, the girls enjoyed the inclusivity of the composing process and expressed a sense of togetherness, finding that collaborating was a good way of combining different strengths, that it improved their teamwork skills, and that they had learned the value of other people's ideas. Some groups found that not everyone contributed to start with, but that by the end everyone was involved, and that collaborating was a good way to offer help to girls who struggled to come up with ideas on their own. Most felt that they had made a contribution, great or small, and that composing alone would be lonely or that they would struggle. Conversely, some girls would have preferred to make the piece all my creation, because they could quickly write down their ideas without taking account of other people's, though recognising that the pool of ideas would be correspondingly smaller. Some felt that composing individually would mean less arguing and more working. 1 or 2 would have liked each girl to make up her own song and then vote for which to sing in the Easter assembly, preferring competition to collaboration. Many girls felt confident singing to their friends in a warm and supportive environment. One girl described singing her ideas to the group as normal. Some girls felt uncertainty about singing, but then, as we were all so into it, you didn't even think about not singing, you just wanted your ideas to get out and heard. Some groups discovered that they could change ideas on the hoof, improving the tune as someone else piggybacked an idea off the first. Others found that their ideas were drowned out by ideas pouring out of others' mouths at the same time. Having the group repeat the improvised tunes was considered a good way of consolidating ideas, and some expressed pride on hearing their own ideas sung by the whole group. One girl described the ephemeral nature of improvised melodies as useful in dealing with failure. It was a good way to share ideas, she said, because if you don't like it, you can just not sing it again. Another girl said, "It felt exciting to see what my voice could do." St. Jean's prized values are summed up as knowledge of God, freedom of choice provided by education, and then communion with God. This meant that free decision-making was part of her spirituality. To encourage a collaboration of equal free decision-making amongst the girls, the small groups used a democratic process to decide which ideas were going into their melody. All the groups sang their ideas to each other and voted on which would be included. As these ideas poured forth, I wrote them down, questioning the girls and encouraging further voting. The girls enjoyed this process and were pleased that everyone was able to contribute. Many girls felt that voting was fair and produced a consensus on the best tunes. However, some felt it was unfair that voting excluded some girls' ideas, or worried that girls might vote for their best friends rather than the best tune. Some felt disappointed that not many of their ideas were picked. Others found it hard to choose between different ideas. Indecision was considered a major drawback. However, girls enjoyed the feedback and were keen to improve what they had created. Some would have preferred to take turns to use an idea from each person, and others would have preferred a head-down vote, because they did not like disappointing their friends. St. Jean often exhorted the pupils to sing the praises of God with an inner spirituality, and used the teaching of songs as an educative method, encouraging worship through the learning of spiritual songs. The Easter Cantata, each year, is always conceived as the preparation of an act of worship. Girls understood that the songs they'd written were for the purpose of worship in chapel. They felt worship to mean people praising or bowing before an important or special person or a hero, as praying and as respect, loving and cherishing. The girls felt singing was a good form of worship because of the work put into making singing beautiful. Singing was identified as more special and prayerful than speaking, and as joyful. Most understood the message of their song to be the story of the crucifixion and resurrection, particularly highlighting Jesus being alive as important. One girl described this as being because his friends missed him. Another said that Jesus will always be there, whether he is alive or dead. Another girl described the message of the Emmaus story as "keep your eyes open." Still another found the centre of the message in the act of Jesus breaking bread. Some struggled to understand the religious message, conceiving the piece as just a story. The girls felt the cantata was a good way to worship God. Several described the hard work that was put into it as a form of worship in itself. They felt that raising the roof with their singing was a worshipful activity. Several felt that being in the chapel was important, and one girl identified having the whole school present in the chapel as meaningful. One child from a Muslim background identified that she worshipped in a different way, by singing more seriously, whereas another girl felt that it was easy to compose the words because she identified as a Christian. St. Jean offered equality of opportunity, stating that girls of any age or social class will be accepted to learn and be taught freely. In this spirit, girls at Notre Dame School Cobham are empowered to go out and make their mark in the world with a sense of equality and confidence. The Easter Cantata project allows the girls to own the role of composer and increase their confidence in their ability to compose. The girls understood composers to mean people who create songs, and this seemed to be in line with their tendency to use the iTunes idiom of calling a musical work a song. They expressed no gender bias about the profession of composing. They felt that they were composers. One girl said, "I think I am one." Another said, "I think we are all composers," and others concurred. Some said this was a new belief. One girl described the strange thrill of hearing a line she had contributed returning over and over again in the chorus as the hook to the song. Some found it especially empowering seeing their own melodies in print, whilst others found it strange or even wrong, because they could not decipher all of the musical symbols. Girls described the outcome of their efforts as professional. They felt confident that the composing skills they had learned would be transferable, and identified new projects they would like to tackle. They expressed confidence in the composition as a whole, and felt that they had represented the Emmaus story really well. Most enjoyed the contrast between the newly paired songs. They felt the story of the journey to Emmaus linked the songs, and one girl spoke of a creative combination of sad and happy. Some girls saw no musical connection between the songs, whilst others felt that they sounded like each other and belonged together. Girls felt that the music of their class's song matched the literary theme. One girl expressed astonishment that a finished piece had come out at the end with identifiable verses and a chorus, and another girl said she was amazed as she felt we'd done more than we thought we had. Pride was identified as a primary emotion in completing their work and in the musical and lyrical content of the cantata, both personally and in their whole class and year. One girl described it as an amazing experience. St. Jean saw all God's children as equals and strove to accompany their spiritual and educational journey. I imagine this much as Christ accompanied the two disciples on the road to Emmaus, quietly unfolding the scriptures, unheralded, untrumpeted, but all the while increasing their understanding as the journey unfolded. The importance is not in the teacher being recognised, but on the disciples' journey of understanding. Thank you for joining me on the girls' journey to Emmaus and back. It is my hope that in supporting girls as composers to collaborate over songwriting for worship using democratic methods, this Easter Cantata project contributes to St. Jean's mission in a modern way. Further to this paper written in 2016, I've continued to write cantatas every year with Year 5, including this past term during lockdown. It has been fascinating to see how the process has had to be adapted for remote learning. Instead of intensively coaching the girls in groups, they had to work individually from home. They wrote lyrics and tunes individually and sent them to me via an online learning portal or by email, using document, video and audio files. We started out with each class being notionally in groups to vote for their song's 3 verses, and then the whole class joined together to vote for their song's hook and chorus words and tune. I was thrilled to see how the girls rose to this task and how different it was with them working independently. Once all the voting was over and the cantata was finished, I was delighted to play it to the girls with my piano accompaniment during an online class. It was marvellous to see them respond in the comments box on Zoom, and their excitement at hearing their composing efforts rendered into real music was palpable. They were absolutely thrilled. Following completion, the girls learned the songs and various individuals sent me audio and video files for me to put together a virtual choir version which was shared on social media during lockdown. I therefore present to you this year's Lord's Supper Cantata by 5H and 5K.
Take this bread and think